Hello and welcome to another update video about Tesla. Tesla is one of these stocks that we update more regularly in our stocks and S&P 500 service. If anybody's interested in regular updates about Tesla and also the live chart access. So we take a look at Tesla because a few people are getting nervous because the Tesla chart pushed a little higher, but it's still in resistance. Okay, it's still in resistance. So we are going to take a look at what this means here. First of all, I need to explain one thing again, and I made it very, very clear in previous videos that I am bullish on Tesla. We're tracking two bullish scenarios. I've actually added a third bullish scenario now, which we are going to talk about. Actually, we can just do that right now. Just let me add that to the chart so it is you can understand it better. Yeah, there are a few scenarios here which are possible. Unfortunately, that makes probabilities, let's say, rather unclear. Depends on which time frame you're looking at, because overall, I am tracking bullish scenarios. Actually, at the moment, only bullish scenarios for Tesla. There are quite a few, and it takes a break below $129, the 78.6 retracement level, to basically invalidate all of them. Okay, as we go lower, as we break support, obviously, first of all, the orange one will be invalidated, then the white one, and then the yellow one. But still, they are all bullish scenarios. At the moment, we haven't done anything to invalidate any of them, so they are all still there. Okay, and we also haven't invalidated the idea that we, in the white count, which is still the primary, that we can still come down lower here short term. So we are going to talk about them all now. So let's start with the orange one, which I have actually added to the chart in light of the recent strength that Tesla is showing. Okay. In this scenario, we're dealing here, I don't like that one for a few reasons, but we are dealing here with a scenario in which we are potentially forming 5 waves up in the orange wave count. In this scenario, a wave 4 bottomed here on the 18th of August, and we could now be in the 5th wave. Do I like this scenario? Not really. Okay, not really. Can I count it as an impulse? I could count it as an impulse, but I have a few problems. First of all, waves 1 and 4 slightly overlap. That's actually a rule break. So you could say, okay, it's just sort of a little bit of an overlap, but nevertheless, I would rather see this as the least likely of them. And I don't like it for exactly that reason, that waves 1 and 4 are overlapping. In addition, I do not like it because of the Fibonacci extensions. Okay, so normally a third wave should reach the 1.618 extension. So it's nothing that I would see as reliable. Now, you could argue, okay, but what if maybe wave 1 was here and wave 2 here? That's technically possible. Then you could say, okay, we had 3 waves up so far. This is a 4, but then the wave 4 is very deep. And in addition to that, if I count 5 waves up in orange here, this would form another wave 1, and it would get way too long. So I leave it on the chart as a potential diagonal structure. So in a diagonal, this would be possible, but then the problem I have with this as a diagonal is I can count the subdivisions as 5 wave structures. And normally a diagonal consists of ABC structures. So nevertheless, it is a valid count. I don't like it really, the orange one, but if we make a new high here above $299, I have to focus on it, okay? I have to focus on it. It will already get more likely above $268, and if we then take out 278 as well. So it is there in the background. It's one to observe. It's a bullish scenario, and it would get much less likely below $214. Then we've got the yellow wave count, which is sort of the, let's say, second most likely one that I'm observing. In this scenario, we had an ABC structure to form a wave 1. That's possible because we are then dealing with a larger ending diagonal in yellow. So it will form a large 5-wave move. But that's a diagonal because we're in a 5th wave, basically forming an ending diagonal, okay? So the yellow wave count is possible. In a yellow wave count, we can come down quite deep in a wave 2 pullback, possibly all the way down to $129. Not the primary scenario, second most likely, okay? I think we might turn earlier. And then the primary scenario is the quite bullish 1-2-1-2 setup I'm tracking. In this scenario, we are in the white wave count and would start a third wave next, basically a third wave rally next. But before we do that, it would preferable to go down a little lower into the support area. So A, B, C. Okay. So in this C wave, then we have a chance to get into the region between 176 and 197, $198. Should go below 214, however. Okay. Below 176, the yellow wave count is in control. So these are the scenarios I'm tracking. So let's dive into the white wave count because that's at the moment the primary scenario, but I'm tracking the other ones in parallel. The short-term price action isn't super reliable. So we have to allow for different scenarios. You have to stay a little bit flexible. So we had, obviously, price came down into our support area already, rallied, which is great. That worked out nicely. Typically, you expect some kind of a reaction to these support levels. Price then rallied into resistance, reacted, perfect, fine. So the idea is now we could be in this 1-2 setup to the downside. We had potentially 5 waves down, 3 waves up. That's so far a 3-wave move to the upside. Price rallied a little bit deeper into resistance since the last update. It hasn't been invalidated. So a wave 2 above $268, that will get unlikely, okay, for a wave 2. I would then have to consider other options. For example, that the wave B is still unfolding as an overshooting B wave, possible, because wave A was corrective. So the B wave can overshoot. We always have to consider that with a B wave, so it might reset. Or that the wave, that orange wave 5 is already unfolding, okay? This is a resistance area. I have to highlight, and I mentioned that to the to our subscribers to the S&P and stock service already, that I would be careful with short trades from here until we see 5 waves down, yeah, until we see this 1-2 setup. You can still go short, that's up to you, but I would use a tight stop because there is currently no evidence that this rally is over. It looks corrective, okay, but if it keeps to push higher, it could form some kind of a 5-wave move in wave 5. It's not very reliable yet though, so I would rather focus on resistances. 268 is resistance. Above that we've got 278, and then we have 299. Okay, and with each of these levels, it gets more likely that this is either a wave 5 or an overshooting B wave. It's not possible at this stage to say what it is. That we go up directly from here and escalate more directly in a third wave in white, which would be very bullish. Possible, but due to the subdivisions here, not, it's not my primary scenario. So eventually, the Tesla chart means we have to stay a bit flexible. Very clear message that I'm tracking only bullish scenarios at the moment. Yeah, so I'm not looking at lower, I'm looking at higher, but with a potential for obviously a deeper pullback here in wave C. Okay, so that needs to come across. And obviously here I would be careful with a short trade until we see a 5-wave move down. Very important, yeah, like a 1-2 setup. Then we have some clarity that the C wave has started. But if this is a 1-2 setup here, yeah, this one, then we should see further continuation in the third wave of the C wave very, very shortly. It's just that at the moment, there is no weakness there, okay? There is no weakness, and also the last move down was only in 3 waves. So yeah, so strategically, the way I approach this, I haven't sold anything of Tesla. I will buy if we go lower. I'm not shorting this, but I will use support zones to buy if we go lower. That's how I approach this, because I see there is quite a bit of upside pressure. We're at a key juncture here. My primary scenario is still lower short term, but we need to be open that this can morph quite a bit up here. Yeah, I think that's very important. Could also be that this B wave here, yeah, is unfolding as a triangle before we come down. But even then, we shouldn't really break above 278. So yeah, just stay a little bit flexible, I think, here. There is no clear signal that this move down has started yet. We always need to be on the lookout that a B wave can overshoot higher. And the orange wave count is there as well, but I don't see that as very likely, the orange count, but cannot rule it out either. So, but nevertheless, focusing on higher and using pullbacks to buy. I think that is my strategy. You have to develop your own strategy, but that's my strategy with Tesla. So yeah, I hope that's clear. I know we have to be flexible, but we have to be flexible in this market at the moment anyway. That's what Elliott Wave tells us. Also with the S&P, with the Nasdaq, I'm tracking in parallel. We have to be flexible still. This is not a market as it has been years ago. It is more tricky. It has become more tricky. And nevertheless, we just need to be a bit more flexible. So, but the situation here is fairly clear overall. We are bullish. It's just there are different ways of getting there. So we have to be a little bit more flexible and have to track it more actively. That's my update about Tesla. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And yeah, if you're interested, check out the Patreon link in the description. That takes you to our stocks and S&P service. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.